So some people have been hyping up XPro 1595, uh, drug for Alzheimer's disease. Stock currently trades at around 650, let's say, give or take. But I'm not really buying the hype that has been going around. So I'll give you several reasons on behalf of Condestra why I am not long on this drug. In fact, short. None of this, by the way, is financial advice or should be used to make a decision. This is just what I believe, and you guys do your own research, etc. So first of all, I'd like to say that my first concern is the biology, right? Sorry for my drawing. I'm not an artist. That's not my line of duty. So knocking out TNF alpha sounds logical in theory, but if we look at all the serious trials that have actually tried it, most of them came up empty with Alzheimer's patients. So block inflammation after the fact is not really the trigger that will slow down the disease, quote unquote Alzheimer's. Second point is that the drug uh, cannot target the location, right? It has to reach. And why do I say this? Now, you might think, that it's a small enough molecule to cross the blood-brain barrier, but in fact, that is not true. XPro is a hefty three-part protein, and patent data shows that after an injection, under 0.1% of what's in the blood goes into the CSF or cerebrospinal fluid. That is the same ballpark as antibodies that are full-sized and far below what is needed for a brain drug. And that is, what we got to target. We got to target the brain. If the drug doesn't reach there, what are we studying? We have to rethink the whole trial, and it kind of looks like a failure from that point of view. Then, um, the evidence that we have seen so far is kind of, skating on thin ice. We've only seen a human study where around 20 people started, but only 9 people made it to around week 12. And the company never really released the cognitive scores. So this is a sign that the numbers kind of look kind of lousy, and honestly, I don't really trust the data so far. So the evidence, I would say, as a third point, is for far better of a better word, is lacking. Okay, and I mean you could check that for yourself, right? The evidence that is there is lacking. I mean, if you take 9 out of the patients, that just continued, I mean, you have a massive understatement. I mean, for the make or break trial is not really built to win. I mean, the phase two runs around 6 months, and it uses EMAC, something that most neurologists don't track, and is powered to spot a change earlier than the day-to-day noise seen in Biogen's Tango dataset. Basically, like for those of you that did not understand what I just said, even if the drug truly helps, this is a wrong study to use, as this study probably could not even prove that. So the trial is not like the study is not the one we should be using to prove it. So what shall I write? Bad study. I mean, these are, just to kind of get you guys thinking of each reason, right? And five, as my last one, is cash. Dollar, dollar, dollar signs. So money's running out. Immune finished 2025 with 21 million USD in cash, and it spends around 10 million per quarter. So we have less than 2 quarters of runway. So I dilute if share, say, looks inevitable, no matter how the data breaks. Now, should the data break badly, as I foresee, this will look, even worse to be true. Um, so, all these reasons, like we have a shaky target, near zero brain exposure for a brain drug. The evidence is weird. The trial is underpowered, and we are burning cash. So I'd put the odds of XPro turning into an approved Alzheimer's drug in the lower range, below 1 to 2%. I would give it. So I would value the stock around its cash, maybe around 50 cents a share, maybe a little more to be more optimistic. Thing is, I'm always open, for things to turn out a bit more positive. I know the short interest is kind of high on this drug, on this stock, but I like to look at the biology, right? Alzheimer's disease is a multifactorial disease. We largely do not know, what trigger we should be targeting, but inflammation does not seem, the correct trigger, the correct, malevolent actor that we should be targeting in order to slow down, the loss of cognition, which we predominantly see in Alzheimer's. So, if anything, I think, I strongly believe that, inflammation is like a byproduct of Alzheimer's. Uh, and targeting itself, we won't see, you know, improved cognition in these patients. But, I mean, what else is there to say when you see, you got a brain drug that cannot really transport through something that's called you have the drug here, and it cannot go to the through the blood-brain barrier and act, in the target where it's got to act. If it cannot cross the target, simply said from a biological standpoint, um, how is this going to work, right? That is the first thing that we have to be able to, you know, to cross in order to in order to hell get the drug running. Biology doesn't lie. That's a beautiful thing about medicine, is that you could track this. And I'm not really positive on INmune Bio. Oh, I'm short. And yeah, that's my analysis. Feel free to contact me or send a message for any questions. And as always, INMB is on trading at around 646 right now, and tune out. These are my reasons here. I'll leave them. Please feel free to contact me and send me a message for any doubt you may have going on forward. As I said, none of this is financial advice. I just love analyzing biotech companies, and you can find more on our website, candestra.com, and see and read more of our publications.